In this world, humans lived inside 50-meter-high walls to isolate themselves from the outside. Because outside the wall were gigantic titans. They were always waiting to devour humans. In the forest, a survey corps was established to fight these titans. At this moment, a boy named Aaron had a nightmare. So, Mikasa woke him up, because it was time for them to go home. But, Mikasa saw Aaron crying. So, Aaron asked Mikasa to keep his crying a secret. Suddenly, he saw a group of gate guards drinking, which made Aaron angry. So, he scolded them. If the wall is breached, can you fight the titans? But, they remained indifferent, because the titans hadn't breached the wall for 100 years. Aaron realized they had no will to fight. And he felt that the people inside the wall were no different from animals trapped in cages. This surprised Hannes, while others laughed at Aaron. At this moment, Mikasa realized Aaron wanted to join the Survey Corps, because he wanted to fight the titans. Suddenly, they saw a group of Survey Corps members returning, which excited Aaron, but he saw that they were all severely injured. A mother was searching for her son. However, the captain informed her that he had died. He even said that the sacrifices of the Survey Corps this time were in vain, which disappointed the people. At this moment, Aaron and Mikasa returned home. Aaron's father announced that he had to leave for work at the inner wall. Suddenly, Mikasa told Aaron's parents that Aaron wanted to join the Survey Corps, which angered his mother. But, Aaron wanted to explore the outside world. He didn't want to live inside the wall forever. However, Aaron's father didn't stop him, and he promised to show Aaron the secret basement when he returned, which excited Aaron. But, Aaron's mother still didn't agree. At this moment, Armin was being bullied by some thugs. Aaron immediately ran to stop them. But, they saw Mikasa behind Aaron, which scared them away. By the afternoon, Armin and Mikasa were still stopping Aaron from joining the Survey Corps, because the wall hadn't been breached in 100 years. So, Armin believes that the people inside will be safe. Suddenly, a large lightning bolt strikes. Everyone is surprised. A Colossus Titan appears. It immediately destroys the wall. Everyone is terrified, because the sturdy wall, standing for 100 years, has been destroyed. The Titans begin entering the walls. Aaron realizes his mother is in danger. So, he runs back. Aaron's mother is trapped under the collapsed house. When Aaron and Mikasa try to save her, they realize the Titans have reached the area. Aaron's mother tells him to run, but he insists on staying. Fortunately, Hannes arrives, as he prepares to fight the Titans to save them. When he faces the Titan, Hannes is terrified, and he immediately takes Aaron and Mikasa away. However, the Titan captures Aaron's mother, leaving Aaron powerless, as he watches his mother get devoured by the Titan. At this moment, the Titans continue entering the walls. Everyone is terrified, because they have all become prey to the Titans. While Aaron blames Hannes for not saving his mother, Hannes admits to Aaron that he didn't have the courage to face the Titan. So, he could only apologize to them. At this moment, all the citizens are being evacuated inside the walls. It turns out this kingdom has 3 walls. While Armin boards the evacuation ship, and he sees Aaron and Mikasa. But, Armin notices that Aaron is acting strange. At this moment, everyone is terrified. They try everything to enter the inner walls, because the Titans are approaching. While the gate is about to close, suddenly, an armored Titan appears. It charges quickly toward the gate, making the soldiers panic, because they cannot stop it. The armored Titan punches through the gate, leaving everyone in despair. They can only pray to escape from the Titans. While Aaron remembers his mother, he realizes he is too weak. So, he vowed to destroy all the Titans. Eventually, Aaron's evacuation ship made it inside the inner wall. Meanwhile, Aaron's father found him, but he injected Aaron with a strange drug. Aaron thought his father had gone mad. At this moment, Aaron woke up. He realized he was holding his father's key. Mikasa called him to get food supplies. Aaron saw many refugees gathered there. Some were even fighting over food. Fortunately, Armin managed to get some food. Suddenly, they heard a soldier insulting the refugees. This angered Aaron, and he kicked the soldier. But, Aaron was beaten by them. Fortunately, Armin apologized to them. At this moment, Aaron was furious. He only wanted to go back and kill all the Titans. He even called Armin a coward. But, Aaron was punched in the face by Mikasa. because there was nothing they could do right now. And she forced Eren to eat, so they could continue to survive. Sometime later, Eren's group joined the military. He was determined to kill all the Titans. At this moment, their commander was constantly asking each person's name. He said they would all become food for the Titans. But he didn't question people like Eren and Mikasa, because he realized they had witnessed hell 2 years ago. Meanwhile, others wanted to join the military police brigade. At this moment, everyone noticed his strictness, but there was a girl still eating a potato. This made Keith angry, while Sasha thought he also wanted to eat. So, she decided to share half with him. After that, she was punished. This surprised everyone, because she had to run for 5 hours straight. At this moment, everyone surrounded Eren, because he had witnessed the Titans 2 years ago. So, he told them about it. When Jean learned Eren wanted to join the Survey Corps, he mocked Eren. This made Eren angry, but Jean didn't want to escalate the situation. So, he apologized to Eren. Suddenly, Jean noticed Mikasa was very beautiful. So, he started a conversation with her, and he complimented Mikasa's hair. However, Jean saw Mikasa with Eren. Eren said Mikasa's hair was too long. So, Mikasa decided to cut it. This made Jean angry. The next morning, they began training with vertical maneuvering equipment, while Mikasa easily maintained her balance. Eren was the only one who ended up upside down. This made everyone laugh at him. By the afternoon, Mikasa was still helping Eren practice balancing, but he still couldn't do it. This made Eren worried. While everyone looked down on him, Eren didn't give up, so he asked Reiner and Bertolt for help. However, they didn't know how to assist him either. Bertolt wondered why Eren, having witnessed the Titans' horrors, still wanted to fight. It turned out they had also been in Wall Maria, and their goal was to return to their hometown. So, Eren told them, his goal was to exterminate all Titans. This surprised them. The next morning, Eren tried again. Even though he didn't have natural talent, he still had determination. When Eren thought he had finally balanced, he suddenly fell again. This made Eren feel hopeless. But Keith noticed there was an issue with his belt. So, he replaced it with a new one for Eren. Unexpectedly, Eren balanced easily this time. Finally, he passed the test. In the following days, their training became increasingly intense. This made Armin very exhausted. So, Reiner helped him. The commander noticed Reiner cared a lot about his comrades. Meanwhile, Armin excelled in strategy. Annie had excellent combat skills, while Mikasa was an outstanding warrior. Eren, although not remarkable in any area, was very determined about his goal. At this moment, Eren was training with Reiner. Eren felt hand-to-hand combat training was pointless, since their enemies were Titans. But Reiner believed a good soldier needed to master everything. So, he told Eren to spar with Annie. Reiner even teased Annie, which made her angry. Annie immediately took Eren down. This scared Reiner. Very quickly, he met the same fate as Eren. This surprised Eren. It turned out Annie's combat skills were taught by her father. So, Eren continued training with Annie. But he continued to be defeated by Annie. That evening, Eren heard Jean say that if they joined the military police brigade, they would live a comfortable life inside the walls. This made Eren angry. So, he and Jean started arguing. But Mikasa stopped Eren, which made Jean jealous. So, he grabbed Eren by the collar. Unexpectedly, Eren used Annie's technique to take Jean down. This surprised everyone. At that moment, Keith noticed a loud noise from the dining hall. So, he asked them to explain. Thankfully, Mikasa said that Sasha had farted, which made everyone laugh. So, Eren and Jean weren't punished. After some time training, their graduation day arrived. The soldiers would be chosen to join the 3 divisions. At that moment, everyone was surprised, because Eren had truly joined the Survey Corps, while others didn't believe humans could defeat the Titans. Eren refused to let humans continue being food for the Titans. So, he was determined to exterminate all the Titans. After that, Eren ran outside. Armin and Mikasa immediately chased after him. Armin decided he would also join the Survey Corps. Mikasa also decided to follow Eren, because she wanted to protect him. The next morning, the main force of the Survey Corps returned. Everyone saw Levi, which excited them, because he was as strong as an entire army by himself. At that moment, Eren met Hannes again. He still felt guilty for not saving Aaron's mother. But Aaron said it wasn't his fault, and he was sure he would defeat the Titans. Hannes realized that Aaron had grown. At that moment, Aaron realized his friends had also joined the Survey Corps, which surprised him. Sasha found a delicious piece of meat, which shocked everyone, because meat was a very rare resource. This excited them. They believed that when humanity won, they would have plenty of meat to eat. Suddenly, the Colossus Titan reappeared in front of Aaron, which surprised everyone, and it blew Aaron and the others away. They realized the wall had been destroyed by the Colossus Titan. This made Aaron remember 5 years ago. So, he decided to fight. Aaron flew up to face the Colossus Titan. Suddenly, it began to attack, but Aaron circled around to the back of the Colossus Titan's neck. He saw it destroying the cannons. So, Aaron realized that this Colossus Titan had awareness. As it was about to grab Aaron, Aaron dodged and tried to slash its nape. Unexpectedly, the Colossus Titan released a burst of hot steam and vanished, leaving Aaron surprised. It appeared and disappeared just like it did 5 years ago. Inside the walls, everyone was scared, because the Titans were about to invade. Meanwhile, the soldiers were fighting the Titans. Aaron's group prepared to fight. But Armin felt afraid. Aaron encouraged Armin, believing that humanity would not lose this time. The Titans began to advance inside, which made everyone anxious. They feared the armored Titan would appear again. But they had no choice but to fight. Suddenly, Mikasa was ordered to evacuate the civilians, which she disagreed with, as she wanted to stay with Aaron. But Aaron told Mikasa that humanity needed them now, and she couldn't make decisions on her own. Mikasa then said, "Don't die, okay?" At that moment, Aaron remembered their class lessons, where their teacher said that the Titan's body structure was similar to other creatures, even capable of surviving without eating. This shocked Aaron, because the purpose of Titans was to kill humans, not to eat them. They even had a terrifying ability to regenerate their bodies. But Titans had only one weakness, which was the nape of their necks. If they could create a large enough wound at the nape, they could kill the Titan. Aaron's group began fighting, realizing the Titans were numerous. Suddenly, a Titan attacked them. Luckily, Aaron and Armin managed to avoid it. But one of their teammates was swallowed by a Titan. This made Aaron furious. So, he charged at it. Unexpectedly, another Titan bit off one of Aaron's legs, causing him to fall. At this moment, everyone was captured by the Titans. Armin was terrified and couldn't move. Suddenly, another Titan grabbed Armin and swallowed him. While Aaron was remembering, Armin had once shown him a book about the world beyond. Aaron was very excited. So, they promised to explore the outside world together. At this moment, Aaron immediately saved Armin, and he threw Armin outside. But Aaron was swallowed by this Titan. This caused Armin to be in pain. At this moment, Connie found Armin. He was still in shock, because all the members of his team had been killed by the Titans. Only he survived. So, Armin left. He realized that this world was hell. Only Aaron was the one who always cared and helped him. This made Armin blame himself, because he was too weak. Suddenly, Armin saw this girl trying to save her lover. But no matter how she tried to administer first aid, her lover couldn't wake up, because he was already dead. On the side of the civilians, this man was trying to protect his food supplies, preventing others from passing through the gate. Even the soldiers didn't dare to stop him. Suddenly, they saw a Titan running toward them. This caused everyone to panic. Fortunately, Mikasa immediately appeared and defeated it. Mikasa realized that this person had delayed the evacuation, putting everyone in danger. So, she threatened him, forcing him to let the civilians pass through the gate first. Finally, Mikasa completed the evacuation. At this moment, Mikasa remembered her childhood. She lived with her family in a small house in the woods, and they were about to meet Aaron's father for a medical checkup. When Aaron's father and he arrived, they saw that everyone had been killed. Meanwhile, Mikasa had been captured by human traffickers. It turned out that Mikasa belonged to the Ackerman clan, who were sold for a very high price on the black market. At this moment, Mikasa was still in shock, because her parents had been killed by these people earlier. This caused her to lose all consciousness. Suddenly, Aaron found them. He pretended to be lost. So, they also tried to capture him. Unexpectedly, he attacked them, making the man panic. He realized Eren was very dangerous. But he was killed by Eren. This shocked Mikasa. In the end, he had taken care of the 2 human traffickers. But Mikasa said there was still one more person. Suddenly, he appeared and attacked Eren. As he was about to kill him, Eren told Mikasa she had to fight, or they would die. So, Mikasa grabbed a knife and began awakening her fighting instincts. Mikasa attacked him. In the end, they were safe. At this moment, Eren's father scolded him for acting on his own. But he only wanted to save Mikasa quickly. Eren gave Mikasa his scarf. Then, Eren's father also adopted Mikasa, which made her cry. At this point, Mikasa had killed many titans. But she was still looking for Eren. At this moment, Jean realized many people had died, and they were running out of gas, while the titans surrounded their gas storage warehouse, causing many soldiers to feel despair. So, Sasha kept trying to encourage everyone. But she saw Armin was in despair. Suddenly, Mikasa arrived. She wanted to find Eren. So, she asked Armin, while Armin was worried, because he couldn't face Mikasa anymore. Armin still had to tell her. When Mikasa learned that Eren was dead, she encouraged Armin and everyone. And she was determined to kill all the titans alone. So, Mikasa left. Everyone saw Mikasa's determination, which helped them regain their spirits. And they decided to go to the gas storage warehouse together. At this point, Mikasa was continuously killing titans along the way. Armin realized Mikasa was losing control. Suddenly, her gas ran out, causing Mikasa to fall. At this moment, Mikasa was in despair, because Eren was dead, causing her to lose her will to live. Suddenly, a titan approached Mikasa, while Jean saw his comrades being turned into food by the titans, making him blame himself, because he didn't have the strength to save them. At this moment, Mikasa was still thinking about Eren. When the titan was about to grab her, Mikasa cut his hand, not understanding why her body was acting on its own. Suddenly, another titan appeared behind Mikasa. She remembered Eren's words to fight. So, Mikasa decided not to give up. As she was about to attack this titan, suddenly, another titan punched it in the face. This surprised Mikasa, because this titan was killing another titan. At this moment, Armin found Mikasa. He gave her his gas canister. And they started observing this strange titan. To their surprise, this titan was very strong, even able to destroy other titans. Suddenly, Armin came up with a plan. They would use this titan to kill the other titans. So, Mikasa and Connie agreed with his plan, and they began to act. Mikasa helped this titan to destroy the other titans. Meanwhile, Jean's group was trying to reclaim the gas storage. Finally, they managed to infiltrate the building. They thought they were safe. Suddenly, the titans began to surround them again. This caused everyone to panic. Jean realized that this world was like hell, and he didn't know how to defeat the titans. Suddenly, the attacked titan appeared and punched 2 titans in the face. This shocked Jean. Mikasa's group also arrived. They explained that this titan was killing its own kind, which amazed everyone. While the attacked titan continued fighting the other titans, Jean's group was still trying to figure out how to get to the gas storage, because the area was surrounded by titans. So, Armin made a plan for them. They had only one chance to kill the 7 titans below. If they failed, they would die. But everyone agreed with Armin's plan. So, they began to act. First, they would attract the titans' attention, which worried everyone. When the titans began to approach them, they shot at their eyes, allowing others to attack the nape of their necks. But Sasha failed. So, one titan was still alive, which frightened her. Fortunately, Mikasa destroyed the titan, making Sasha very happy. Finally, they were able to refill their gas canisters, and they were able to leave. Suddenly, Mikasa saw the attacked titan surrounded by other titans. Even though it was badly injured, the attacked titan didn't give up, and it continued to defeat the other titans. Suddenly, the attacked titan collapsed, surprising everyone. Mikasa and Armin realized that the person inside the attacked titan was Eren. So, Mikasa ran to hug him, feeling very happy, because Eren was still alive. Meanwhile, Armin noticed that Eren's arms and legs had healed. At this moment, the Survey Corps was fighting the titans outside. A soldier was caught by a titan, and even though he knew he was about to die, he still believed Levi would defeat the titans. Unexpectedly, Levi appeared and took down the Titan. Levi realized there were still 3 giant Titans here. So, he decided to handle them alone. Very quickly, Levi dealt with all of them. However, Levi didn't like the blood of Titans on his hands, because he hated being dirty. At this moment, they realized the Titans were running toward the rose wall, and they felt like it was just like 5 years ago. On Aaron's side, he remembered when he was swallowed by a Titan, falling into its stomach. Aaron saw many of his comrades had died there, and he remembered his mother, which made him hate the Titans even more, and he wanted to kill all of them. Suddenly, Aaron transformed into the attack Titan. He is determined to kill all the Titans. When Aaron woke up, he found himself surrounded by everyone. Aaron didn't understand why they were targeting him. They even accused Mikasa and Armin, because they dared to protect Aaron. And they asked Aaron, "Are you human or a Titan?" This confused Aaron, and it turned out they all thought Aaron was a Titan who had infiltrated to destroy humanity. This made Mikasa furious. She was ready to kill anyone who harmed Aaron. Suddenly, Aaron shouted, "I'm human," but they still wanted to kill Aaron. By chance, Aaron saw the key to his father's secret basement. It turned out his father had injected something into Aaron earlier and told him to reclaim Wall Maria, because all the truths were in that basement. At that moment, they fired a cannon at Aaron, and suddenly, Aaron bit his own arm. He helped him transform into a Titan body to protect Mikasa and Armin, causing everyone to be terrified. When Aaron woke up, he realized he was inside the Titan body. So, he tried to break free. At that moment, they were covered by a mist. So, the people outside didn't notice them. Aaron realized the secret was in his father's basement. So, he decided to return to his home. Aaron was determined to uncover the secret, in order to wipe out all the Titans. Suddenly, Aaron began to have a nosebleed. Armin realized this power was affecting his body. But, Aaron didn't care. Mikasa wanted to go with Aaron, but he disagreed. At this moment, Aaron made a plan, and asked Armin and Mikasa to help him. Armin realized that Aaron and Mikasa had always trusted him. So, he decided to persuade everyone to help Aaron. Armin said that Aaron wasn't their enemy, because he had fought the Titans and saved everyone. So, they could use Aaron's power to fight. This made everyone begin to trust Aaron. But, the commander still didn't trust him, and he ordered an attack on them. This made Armin worried, but he realized that Aaron and Mikasa still trusted him. So, Armin showed his determination to everyone. He accepted to risk his life to prove that Aaron's power could save humanity. But, the commander still wanted to attack them. Suddenly, the highest-ranking commander of the army appeared, and he stopped him. He agreed to listen to Aaron's plan. It turned out his name was Pixis, the highest-ranking commander of the Southern Territory. At that moment, he listened to Armin's plan. Aaron would use a large rock to plug the hole in the wall. Suddenly, he asked Aaron, "Are you sure you can do this?" So, Aaron promised he would plug the hole. At this point, Pixis began to trust Aaron. Thus, he agreed to support them in executing the plan. Meanwhile, the other soldiers were scared, because they didn't want to fight the Titans again. This soldier preferred to die here than be eaten by the Titans. Suddenly, Pixis announced that their mission was to plug the hole in the wall, and Aaron would use his Titan power to plug the hole. It surprised everyone. While Armin was making the plan, they would lure the Titans into a corner of the wall to support Aaron in carrying the rock. But, many people still didn't believe in Aaron, because they thought it was impossible for him to transform into a Titan. This made many of them want to leave. But, Pixis didn't punish them, because those who were afraid of Titans would never be able to fight against them, and their families would experience the same fear. This made the soldiers think of their families. So, they decided to stay. At that moment, they prepared for battle. Aaron's group was also ready. They are determined to succeed. So, Aaron's group was running toward the rock, while the others were luring the Titans into the corner of the wall. When Aaron reached the rock, he transformed into Attack Titan, which surprised everyone. Suddenly, Aaron attacked Mikasa. Everyone realized that Aaron was losing control. But, Mikasa still tried to wake Aaron up. However, Aaron couldn't hear Mikasa, so he continued attacking her, but he ended up punching himself in the face. At that moment, the Titans were approaching, which made everyone begin to doubt Aaron's plan. On Armin's side, He realized that Aaron's group was in trouble. So, he ran to help. Meanwhile, some people wanted to abandon Aaron, because they realized that staying there was pointless. But, their commander still trusted Aaron, because he was humanity's only hope. So, they decided to try trusting Aaron. They stopped the Titans from getting closer to him. Meanwhile, Armin found Aaron sitting still. He didn't know what Aaron was doing. On Mikasa's side, they were still trying to stop the Titans. But, there were too many of them. Mikasa realized the Titans were being drawn to Aaron. Suddenly, Armin decided to wake Aaron up, and stabbed the Titan's nape, causing Aaron to feel pain. At that moment, Aaron was still dreaming about his family, and he heard Armin calling him. But, he was still trapped inside the dream. So, he didn't understand what Armin was saying. Meanwhile, Mikasa's group was still trying to hold off the Titans. Suddenly, Jean's equipment got stuck, so, he couldn't fly, which put Jean in danger. Luckily, he managed to hide in a house, and saw some equipment outside. Meanwhile, Armin was still trying to wake Aaron up. He said that one day they would explore the world beyond, which caused Aaron to wake up. He realized what he had to do. At this moment, more and more Titans were coming through the hole. Jean saw the Titan leave. So, he ran out to grab the equipment. Unexpectedly, the Titan returned. Fortunately, his teammates distracted the Titan for him. So, Jean was able to get the equipment. While Jean was in danger, Annie kicked the Titan away. Thanks to that, Jean is still safe. Suddenly, they saw Aaron carrying the rock, which made them very happy. The commander then ordered them to use their lives to protect Aaron. So, everyone immediately took action, even running on the ground on purpose to draw the Titan's attention. At this moment, Aaron saw Mikasa and Armin running on the ground too, which made him worried, because it was dangerous for them to be running on the ground. Aaron saw that many had sacrificed their lives. But, he didn't give up, because he wanted to see the world beyond the wall, and humanity would be free. So, he had no choice but to keep fighting. Suddenly, a Titan blocked Aaron's path. Mikasa ran over and took it down, allowing Aaron to throw the large rock into the hole. In the end, they succeeded, and this was the first time humanity had defeated a Titan, which made everyone extremely happy. At that moment, the Titans were still coming toward Aaron, but Armin hadn't been able to pull him out yet. When they were in danger, suddenly, Levi appeared and saved them. He didn't understand what was happening here. Afterward, the Survey Corps returned and exterminated the Titans, even capturing 2 of them. But after this battle, 207 people were dead, and 897 were injured. They even found a giant piece of meat that the Titans had vomited up. It turned out that Titans ate humans but couldn't digest them. While Aaron was being interrogated, he realized that the commanders of the Survey Corps were Erwin and Levi. Aaron didn't understand why he was being held here. At this moment, Erwin noticed the key, which could open his father's basement, a place that contained the secrets about the Titans. But, if they want to return there, they need to retake Wall Maria, and they still need Aaron's power to do so. But, they asked, "What is your goal?" Aaron said, "I want to join the Survey Corps and kill all the Titans." This surprised Levi, so, he decided to take responsibility for supervising Aaron. If Aaron betrays them, he would kill him immediately. At this moment, the nobles were afraid Aaron might cooperate with the Titans to destroy the walls, while the citizens saw Aaron as a savior, because they believed he would help them retake Wall Maria. Pixis realized that both the Survey Corps and the Military Police Brigade wanted to take control of Aaron. But, they had to wait for the verdict from General Zackley, and he could execute Aaron if he thought Aaron was a threat. At this moment, Mikasa and Armin also heard the news that Aaron would soon be tried, which made Mikasa worried. Meanwhile, Aaron was also anxious. He realized that everyone is afraid of him. Suddenly, Hange arrived to find Aaron, revealing that she was the vice captain of the Survey Corps, and her task was to take Aaron to the trial. When Aaron arrived, everyone looked at him with judgmental eyes. At this point, Zackley began the trial. He would decide which division Aaron would be placed under supervision of. Unexpectedly, the Military Police Brigade suggested studying Aaron's body, and they believed they should eliminate him, because they suspected he might betray humanity. However, the Survey Corps wanted Aaron to join their army, because Erwin believed his power could help retake Wall Maria. But, The nobles still opposed Aaron, fearing that the Colossus Titan would appear again. This irritated Levi, and he scolded them for being cowardly. They're just a group of people being fattened up inside the walls, while the poor were lacking land to live on. At this point, Zackley asked Aaron, since he still hadn't controlled himself and attacked Mikasa. But Aaron couldn't remember anything about that, which made everyone doubt him. They also started doubting Mikasa, which made Aaron anxious. So he yelled at them, because they're just cowards who are too afraid to fight, and that they had never even seen a Titan. Suddenly, Levi ran over and punched Aaron, which surprised everyone. Meanwhile, Mikasa was angry, but she was stopped by Armin. Everyone saw Levi beating Aaron. They were scared, because he could turn into a Titan and kill them. It turned out that Levi was proving to them Aaron was not a danger to humanity. Suddenly, Erwin suggested that Levi monitor Aaron. So, Zackley agreed. Thanks to that, Aaron was able to join the Survey Corps. It turned out that it was all their plan. While Hange was enjoying one of Aaron's fallen teeth, but she realized that it had grown back immediately. The next morning Aaron was taken to the Survey Corps base. Here Aaron met the elite members of the Survey Corps. They were all excellent soldiers and killed many Titans. So, Aaron realized, if he turned into a Titan, anyone could kill him. At this time Levi saw that the base was too dirty. So, he ordered everyone to clean it up. While Aaron felt that Levi was a very law-abiding person, Petra told him, Levi was not a perfect hero. He was short, petty, and very unapproachable, because Levi came from a background of underworld thugs. But he joined the Survey Corps because of Erwin. At night, everyone asked Aaron, how does he feel when he transforms into a Titan? But Aaron doesn't remember clearly, because he still couldn't control it. Suddenly, Hange arrived. She asked Aaron to help her with an experiment on 2 captured Titans, which made her very excited. But Aaron didn't know what kind of experiment she wanted to do, which made the others worry and leave. At this point, Hange told Aaron about her experiments. It turns out that Hange had previously tested their communication abilities. Although Hange continuously spoke to them, they just wanted to eat Hange. She had even named the 2 Titans Sani and Bean. In the following days, she continued studying them. Hange discovered that they didn't need to eat or breathe, and the only energy they needed was sunlight. She even cried while torturing the Titans, because she saw them as her pets. At this point, Aaron didn't understand why Hange was so fascinated by the Titans. It turns out she had always been curious about the Titans' bodies, because their bodies were much lighter than their actual mass. So, Aaron realized the Survey Corps was very different, because they were all people who set their minds on a goal. Thus, Aaron wanted to hear more about Hange's experiments, which made her very excited. Unexpectedly, she talked until the next morning, which made Aaron very tired. So, Aaron understood why everyone left. Suddenly, they received a report. Hange's 2 Titans had been killed, which made her very distressed. But they didn't know who killed them. At this point, Jean's group was cremating their fallen comrades. Jean had lost his close friend, which made everyone very sad. Suddenly, Jean made a decision. He would join the Survey Corps. At this point, the members of the Survey Corps wondered, how many new recruits would dare to join the Survey Corps? Suddenly, Levi told Aaron to patrol with him, and Aaron was not allowed to ride too far ahead of Levi. By evening, Erwin was asking the new recruits about their decisions. He said that Aaron not only helped humanity reclaim the wall, but he also helped them get closer to the truth about the Titans, which surprised everyone, because all the truth was inside the basement of Aaron's house, which made Armin confused. Why did Erwin openly reveal this secret? Erwin said that since they had joined the Survey Corps, they would definitely become food for the Titans. But if they could survive, they would be the future of humanity. It was unexpected that many people had left. This made Jean's group worried about their decision. Although they knew they might die, they ultimately stayed. This made Erwin very satisfied, and they became members of the Survey Corps. The next morning, they began their training to become members of the Survey Corps. At this point, Aaron had returned from his patrol. He realized his friends had joined the Survey Corps, which made Aaron very happy. But Mikasa was still seeking revenge on Levi for daring to hit Aaron. At that moment, Aaron saw Jean had also joined the Survey Corps, which surprised him. So, they were given Survey Corps cloaks. At this point, Jean realized Eren had just discovered his power, and he still couldn't control it. So, Jean wanted Eren to ensure that placing their lives in Eren's hands was the right decision. The next morning, the Survey Corps prepared for the mission to retake Wall Maria. So, everyone started the reconnaissance mission. At this point, they saw a Titan. So, two people drew its attention to help the others advance. Erwin realized they were about to enter the Titan's territory. So, he told everyone to set up a long-range reconnaissance formation, because this formation would help them observe the Titans and protect the supplies. When they spotted a Titan, they would fire a smoke signal to warn others, to help everyone move in a different direction to avoid the Titans. Suddenly, Sasha was spotted by a Titan, which terrified her, but it kept relentlessly chasing Sasha. Luckily, they managed to help her shake off the Titan. Suddenly, Armin saw black smoke. It turned out to be an abnormal Titan. It moved very fast, but these soldiers still easily defeated it. Suddenly, they discovered another Titan heading toward them. Unexpectedly, this Titan was a marathon runner. When they were about to eliminate it like the previous Titan, Armin realized it was completely different, because it had intelligence like the armored Titan and the Colossus Titan. So, Armin thought there was someone inside it. Unexpectedly, it caught up with Armin, causing him to fall. When Armin thought he was about to die, suddenly, the female Titan looked at his face. Unexpectedly, it left, which shocked Armin. He didn't understand what was happening. Fortunately, Reiner brought a horse for him. So, they continued to chase after the female Titan. At this point, Jean announced that one of their squads had been entirely killed by the Titans. Armin realized that the female Titan had led those Titans there, and its target was searching for Eren. So, they needed to stop it from finding Eren. He told Jean and Reiner to put on their hoods, because it wouldn't kill someone without knowing who they were. Suddenly, Jean aimed at the female Titan's leg, but it dodged, and it immediately attacked them, causing Armin to fall backward. So, Jean rushed to save him. When Jean aimed at the female Titan's nape, it suddenly used its hand to protect its nape. So, Jean couldn't attack. When Jean was in danger, Armin screamed to draw the female Titan's attention, causing the female Titan to stop. Taking advantage of this, Reiner charged forward, but he was caught by the female Titan. They thought Reiner had been crushed to death by it. Unexpectedly, Reiner cut off its arm and escaped. Thanks to that, he was able to save Armin and run away. Suddenly, the female Titan continued running. Armin realized it was heading toward Eren's direction. At that moment, Eren was still with Levi, while the female Titan was still searching for Eren, and it had killed many members of the Survey Corps. But the female Titan still hadn't found Eren. At this point, the Survey Corps reached a forest. So, Erwin ordered everyone to run into the forest, while Armin's group would climb the trees to ambush the Titans. At this point, Jean still didn't understand why the captain ordered them to block the Titans at the edge of the forest. So, he thought the higher-ups were just putting them in a dangerous situation. But Armin thought that Erwin had realized the female Titan was chasing Eren. So, he was leading it into the forest. Meanwhile, Eren didn't understand why they had changed the plan, because in the forest, they would be easily ambushed by the Titans. But Levi said that this place was the perfect environment for them to fight. And he told Eren to start using his head. Suddenly, Eren looked at the serious faces of the others, and he realized they didn't know about the plan either. At this point, Armin's group was still holding off the Titans at the forest's edge, while Eren's group saw a smoke signal, realizing an abnormal Titan was coming. Unexpectedly, it was the female Titan, and it immediately started chasing Eren. This made everyone worried, but Levi still hadn't given the order to fight, making everyone confused about what he was thinking, because the female Titan was getting very close to them. Suddenly, he told everyone to cover their ears, and Levi fired a sound cannon. It turned out he wanted everyone to calm down, because their mission was to protect Eren. So, they had to keep running. Meanwhile, Eren saw the reinforcements being killed by the female Titan, which made him worried, because so many people had sacrificed to protect him. Eren didn't want to continue following orders, and he decided to use his Titan power to fight. So, Levi remarked that Eren was just a monster acting on emotions, and he told Eren to choose whether to trust himself or trust the Survey Corps. At that moment, Aaron remembered that earlier they had tried to find a way for Aaron to control his power. So, Hange had told Aaron to go down a well to prevent Aaron from losing control. But when Aaron tried to transform into a titan, no matter how many times he bit his hand, he still couldn't transform. This made everyone worried, because if Aaron couldn't transform into a titan, the plan to retake Wall Maria would become meaningless. Suddenly, Aaron dropped his spoon. When he picked it up, by accident, he transformed into a titan. Luckily, Aaron managed to stop his transformation in time. But he realized that everyone was aiming at him, and they were continuously blaming Aaron, because they still didn't trust him. Suddenly, Hange excitedly ran over, because she had seen Aaron's titan arm. When Aaron pulled his arm back, the titan started to disappear. By night, Hange discovered that Aaron's spoon was still intact. So, she realized the condition for Aaron to transform into a titan was that he had to have a clear purpose. At this point, everyone realized they had misunderstood Aaron. So, they started to bite their hands. And they realized that making themselves bleed like Aaron wasn't easy at all. It turned out this was their apology to him, and they told Aaron to trust them. At this point, Aaron decided not to transform into a titan, and he continued to follow orders. Unexpectedly, the female titan accelerated. Aaron realized that everyone had placed all their trust in Levi. Suddenly, the female titan fell into Erwin's trap. They fired spears at it, making the female titan unable to move. Aaron realized their plan was to capture the female titan. At that moment, Erwin continued to give the order to attack it. Meanwhile, Armin's group was still holding off the titans at the edge of the forest. Jean realized that Erwin's goal was to capture the person inside the female titan. Even the teammates with Aaron didn't know this plan, because Erwin suspected there was a spy in their ranks. But Aaron felt that this plan would cost too many lives, while Armin realized that the person who could accomplish something important was the one willing to discard their humanity. At that moment, Erwin ordered an attack on the female titan. Unexpectedly, it could harden its hand, allowing it to block Levi's attack. So, Erwin decided to shoot at its arm. Meanwhile, Levi was filled with hatred for the female titan, because it had killed many of his comrades. Suddenly, the female titan screamed, causing everyone to cover their ears. Meanwhile, Armin's group outside also heard the scream. Unexpectedly, the titans rushed into the forest, surprising everyone. So, Erwin gave the order to shoot the female titan. Everyone realized that the titans were only targeting the female titan. They immediately joined forces to stop them. But these titans were too many. They continuously devoured the female titan. Erwin realized something was wrong. So, he ordered a retreat. At this point, the female titan had been completely devoured by the titans. Erwin realized that the person had abandoned everything to protect the information. While everyone had started retreating, Erwin realized that the person inside the female titan was still alive. So, he told Levi to go find him. On Aaron's team, they spotted a suspicious figure. Suddenly, he attacked them, surprising everyone. At this moment, Erwin realized that they had failed because they hadn't anticipated the female titan's ability to summon the titans. It turned out that Erwin had started to suspect there was a spy in the military 5 years ago. While Armin thought the spy was one of the new recruits who graduated with him. Meanwhile, the spy was still chasing after Aaron, surprising everyone. Suddenly, the person transformed back into the female titan, and she continued to chase after Aaron. When Aaron was about to transform into his titan form to fight, Petra's team stopped him. They said they would fight the female titan to let Aaron escape, because their mission was to protect him. Aaron trusted them and ran away. Meanwhile, Petra's team returned to fight the female titan, and they struck her eye, temporarily blinding the female titan. But she leaned against a tree and protected the back of her neck. So, they continuously attacked her arms to disable both of her arms. Aaron realized they coordinated very well, because they always trusted each other. When they were about to finish off the female titan, suddenly, she began to counterattack, causing Aaron to worry, because she was killing everyone. Aaron saw his teammates had died, making him angry. So, Aaron transformed into a titan, and immediately attacked the female titan. But the female titan moved very agilely, easily dodging Aaron's attacks. Meanwhile, everyone realized Aaron was fighting. So, they immediately returned. At this moment, Levi saw his teammates had died. But, he showed no emotion. While Aaron had caught the female titan, he realized that because he chose to trust his teammates, they had died. Because if he had fought from the beginning, none of this would have happened, making Aaron blame himself. So, he was determined to take revenge on the female titan. Unexpectedly, she immediately counterattacked Aaron. But, Aaron quickly stood up and punched the female titan. However, she dodged. Even though she used hardening to strike Aaron's face, Aaron didn't give up. He punched the female titan down. But, Aaron was also exhausted. When the female titan took a fighting stance, Aaron was shocked, and she defeated him. At this moment, the female titan dragged Aaron out of his titan form, and immediately began to devour him. Mikasa also arrived, which made the female titan angry, and she chased after the female titan to force her to return Aaron to her. But, the female titan used hardening to protect her neck. So, Mikasa's sword couldn't hurt her. Suddenly, the female titan attacked Mikasa. Luckily, Levi was able to save her just in time. At this point, they realized the female titan was exhausted. He asked, "Is Aaron dead?" But, Mikasa said, "Aaron is still alive." Since the female titan's goal was to capture Aaron, Levi chased after the female titan to save Aaron. When the female titan attacked him, Levi spun around and stabbed her in the eye. His attack speed was so fast that the female titan fell. The female titan didn't even have time to use hardening. Mikasa saw the female titan's arm had fallen off. So, she aimed for her neck. But, it turned out to be a decoy. Luckily, Levi managed to save Mikasa, and he struck the female titan's mouth. Thanks to that, he was able to save Aaron. So, Levi ordered a retreat. Suddenly, Levi saw the female titan crying. At this point, Aaron was safe, and everyone was preparing to return. But, Mikasa saw that too many of their comrades had died. So, they began collecting the bodies of the soldiers to return them to their families. However, there were some bodies that couldn't be recovered. Thus, Erwin decided to report them as missing. This made two soldiers angry, because those were the bodies of their friends. But, those bodies were next to the titans, and retrieving them would have caused even more damage. They saw the coldness in Erwin and Levi, which made them uncomfortable. As the Survey Corps was returning, suddenly, they saw two titans chasing after them. It turned out these two soldiers hadn't followed orders when they got into danger. Luckily, Mikasa managed to save one of them. But, one titan was still chasing the Survey Corps. So, Levi ordered them to leave some of the bodies behind. Although they didn't want to, they had no choice but to do so. Finally, everyone managed to escape the titans. At this point, one of the soldiers apologized to Levi. But, Levi handed him a piece of cloth with the emblem. It turned out that this was how he remembered his fallen comrades. At this point, Aaron had woken up, and he realized too many people had died protecting him, making Aaron blame himself. At this moment, the Survey Corps had returned. But, the civilians realized the mission had failed, and they blamed the Survey Corps for being useless. This made Aaron angry. But, when he saw the delighted faces of the children, he didn't know what to say. Meanwhile, when the civilians heard that their children had died, they lost faith in the Survey Corps. But, on the side of the military police brigade, with Annie, things were completely different. Their lives here were too comfortable. Even the commanders of the military police brigade were only concerned with enjoying themselves, leaving all the small tasks to their subordinates. Although everyone could see the corruption here, they still accepted the situation. At this point, Annie's team was on a patrol mission when they suddenly discovered two captains selling illegal weapons. One soldier tried to stop them, but he was immediately beaten by them. Because he was their subordinate, he couldn't do anything. Fortunately, Annie stopped them, not wanting to escalate the situation. So, they left. This left the soldier feeling helpless, as he didn't have the courage to do anything. He blamed himself for just going with the flow. Meanwhile, Annie enjoyed watching the weak being swept away by the current. In the afternoon, Armin met Annie. She didn't understand why Armin was looking for her. It turned out Armin wanted Annie's help to help Aaron escape, while he searched for evidence for Aaron's upcoming trial. But, Annie refused. So, Armin continued to try to persuade her. Fortunately, she agreed. After that, She led Aaron's group to avoid attracting attention. It turned out Armin had discovered a secret passage, which could help them escape outside. As they went down to the basement, suddenly, Annie stopped, because she didn't want to go further down. But Aaron persuaded her to come down with him. It turned out Annie had realized she was being followed. And Armin was the one who had planned this. Armin suspected Annie was the one who had killed the 2 test titans. And he realized that Annie was the female titan. At this point, Annie realized she had been exposed, which made her very amused. Just as she was about to transform into a titan, everyone appeared and restrained her. Unexpectedly, in Annie's ring, there was a small knife, and she cut her own hand to transform into a titan, surprising everyone. At this moment, Aaron remembered, earlier, Erwin had gathered information from everyone, and he had identified who the female titan was. So, Erwin had begun to plan to lure the female titan out. At this point, Annie transformed into a titan, and she immediately tried to capture Aaron. Armin realized that Annie had known he was lying from the start. So now, they had to implement their second plan. That is, Aaron would transform into a titan to fight Annie. But when Aaron bit his hand, he couldn't transform into a titan. This made Aaron worried. Mikasa realized that Aaron still hadn't accepted the idea of fighting Annie. It turns out that before, Aaron still didn't believe Annie was the female titan, even though Armin had explained to him that Annie was the most suspicious one. It turns out that Mikasa had also noticed that the female titan's fighting stance was very similar to Annie's. But Aaron still didn't want to believe it. So, Armin and Mikasa decided to separate to lure Annie. This made Aaron worried, because they would be in danger. Suddenly, Aaron's position was collapsed. Mikasa immediately charged at Annie to allow Armin to save Aaron. But he was severely injured. Annie saw Aaron, so she wanted to capture him. But Mikasa and the others kept stopping her. At this moment, Jean also ran to help. He realized that Aaron was hesitant when fighting Annie, which made Jean angry, because Aaron was humanity's hope. At this point, Armin and Jean also returned to help everyone, and they lured Annie away. While Hange was excited about her trap, Annie fell into her trap, which made Annie unable to move. They thought they had captured her. But Annie managed to escape, and she immediately ran away. While Aaron was remembering the deaths of his teammates and his mother, he realized how cruel this world was. This made Aaron transform into a titan, and he immediately ran to punch Annie down, while everyone was terrified, because there were titans inside the wall. At this point, Aaron was trying to chase Annie. But Armin realized that Annie's skills surpassed Aaron in every way. Suddenly, Annie stopped and faced Aaron, and she took a fighting stance. So, Aaron attacked Annie, and he threw Annie into a building. While the military police brigade still didn't understand why titans were fighting here. The commander heard about many deaths, and he blamed Erwin for carrying out this plan. But Erwin said, for humanity's victory. So, the military police brigade agreed to cooperate with Erwin. At this point, Aaron kicked Annie's leg, but she used hardening. It caused Aaron's leg to break. However, Aaron continued attacking Annie, while Annie was remembering her father. And she kept attacking Aaron. She thought she had defeated him. So, Annie continued running away. Unexpectedly, Aaron kept going more wildly, and he chased after Annie. At this point, Aaron had gained control of Annie, surprising everyone, because Aaron was going completely insane. But Annie managed to push Aaron away, and she tried to climb the wall to escape. Unexpectedly, Mikasa appeared. She immediately cut off Annie's fingers, which made Annie fall down, and she remembered her promise to her father, that she would return to him. At this moment, Aaron caught Annie. Everyone realized that Aaron was about to eat her. When Annie's body was exposed from her titan form, suddenly, she used hardening, and she absorbed Aaron's titan body. Luckily, Levi managed to save him in time. Finally, the battle ended. When Aaron woke up, he saw Annie's body encased in a crystal. But they couldn't destroy it. Although they had captured Annie, they couldn't extract information from her. At this point, Aaron had recovered. Armin realized that Aaron had hesitated to capture Annie back then, while Erwin believed that there were still other titans infiltrating here. So, they would continue to find them. In the previous part, humanity faced the sudden attack of the Colossus Titan and the Armored Titan. But when the wall that was once considered impenetrable was destroyed, Oren and his comrades joined the Survey Corps. They carried within themselves the desire to reclaim freedom for mankind. However, a terrifying secret gradually unfolded when Oren himself possessed the power to transform into a Titan. From then on, the boundary between friends and enemies began to blur, opening up a battle for survival more brutal than ever. For 100 years, humanity had lived peacefully thanks to the sturdy walls. People gradually forgot the fear of the Titans. But on one fateful day, Titans suddenly appeared and destroyed the wall. Humanity was forced to rise and fight for survival. 5 years after that incident, the army at this time successfully captured an abnormal Titan. However, the threat to humanity was still far from over. In one battle, suddenly when the wall was damaged, from within, the enormous face of a Titan was revealed, leaving the soldiers in shock. Pastor Nick shouted. He demanded that it be immediately covered. Nick did not want sunlight to shine upon that Titan. At that moment, the cracked area of the wall was sealed off. No one expected that Titans were actually hidden within the walls. That was the very wall humanity had always trusted. The military police brigade was responsible for cleaning up the remnants after the battle. Meanwhile, Pastor Nick was interrogated every day, even when Hange grabbed him by the collar and threatened to throw him from a height of 50 meters. Nick still remained steadfast. He refused to reveal any secrets, and he stayed utterly loyal to his faith. He even accepted the possibility of death, which left Hange helpless. She could only throw him back onto the wall. At that moment, a sense of unease and fear spread among everyone. Meanwhile, in the southern part of the wall, the soldiers of the Survey Corps who were not on the main mission were gathered in a small house. Krista noticed something unusual. She realized the others were armed, while her group was not. Sasha, feeling frustrated, put her gun down on the table, but she was startled when she heard footsteps outside. Outside, the Survey Corps observed. They discovered many Titans approaching. At that moment, a total of 9 Titans appeared together, but their group had no weapons. Everyone was ordered to evacuate to nearby villages. They had to split up in 4 different directions. Sasha decided to return to her village in the south, while Reiner and Ymir went with her. But as they were moving, suddenly, several abnormal Titans unexpectedly attacked them. Michi immediately rushed into battle. He left the command to his comrades. During the fight, Oren's memories of his mother resurfaced. They reminded him that he had to protect Mikasa. Suddenly, Oren woke up. He saw Mikasa right beside him. Oren picked up his sword. He was ready to fight. At that moment, Armin rushed over. He delivered urgent news to the whole team. By then, Michi had already slain many regular Titans. But he encountered an unusually strange abnormal Titan. When Michi mounted his horse to escape, suddenly that colossus-like Titan grabbed the horse and hurled it toward him, causing Michi to fall and making him land in the jaws of a 4-meter Titan. Right then, a voice rang out. Unexpectedly, that abnormal Titan could speak human language. It asked him about the Survey Corps. Then it ordered the other Titans to attack Michi. For the first time, they witnessed a Titan that could talk. That terrified Michi, but he remembered his old vow, which made him determined to fight until the very end. However, Michi eventually fell, and he became a victim of the Titans. Meanwhile, news of a Titan appearing inside Wall Rose was spreading rapidly, and the soldiers immediately reported it to Commander Pixis in Trost District. Armin speculated that the Titans within the walls were created through hardening powers. Now the Survey Corps immediately prepared to set out, while Hange continued to study the Titan skin that remained. But Pastor Nick was forced to go along, because he might hold an important secret. Somewhere else, Sasha returned to her village to evacuate the people. 3 years ago, her father once advised the family should give up hunting, because Titans have already taken over farmland. But Sasha still chose to stay. She kept living as her ancestors had taught her. When she returned to the village, Sasha saw Titan footprints everywhere. In a small house, she encountered a horrifying sight. A Titan was devouring a woman. But right in front of it stood a little girl. Sasha immediately rushed in to save her. She quickly pulled the little girl to escape, but the Titan had already noticed them. Sasha used her bow and arrows to hold the Titan back. She told the girl to run with all her strength, because Sasha believed that someone would surely come to save them. Sasha had only one arrow left, but if she missed the shot, both of them would immediately die. So she bravely charged forward. Sasha thrust the final arrow straight into the Titan's eye. At once, she and the girl ran away. Luckily, Sasha's father and the villagers arrived on horseback just in time. The girl was saved, while Sasha witnessed the joy of her father, as he saw that she had managed to protect someone else. Elsewhere, Connie returned to his hometown village. When he reached his house, he was shocked to find a Titan lying in the ruins. It was motionless and unable to move. But the strange thing was, no one knew how it appeared there. Connie returned to his village. When he stood before his house, Connie did not see anyone still alive. A comrade patted his shoulder to comfort him. He said that perhaps the villagers had managed to evacuate in time. But Connie found it hard to believe, because all the surrounding houses had been destroyed, while the stables were completely empty without a single horse. As Connie was about to leave, suddenly, he heard a familiar voice. A voice that sounded exactly like his mother. It softly whispered, "Welcome home, my son." Connie panicked and turned around. Suddenly he saw a motionless Titan. It was staring straight at him. Although this Titan could not move, it was lying right in the middle of the house. Reiner slapped Connie's shoulder hard. He reminded him to hurry on, because many others still needed to be evacuated. Thanks to those words, Connie regained his composure and continued moving. At 7 o'clock, Ymir and Krista, along with 2 Survey Corps soldiers, were armed and heading south. Everyone wanted to confirm the breach in Wall Rose. During a short rest, Ymir suddenly admitted she was willing to sacrifice herself for Krista's family. This shocked Krista, because she had once suspected that Ymir only acted for herself. 9 hours after the Titans appeared, the garrison regiment had gathered their forces. They wanted to eliminate the Titans advancing further inside the walls. At that moment, the soldiers were patrolling around the wall. They also began to notice something strange. The wall had no cracks at all. So how did the Titans manage to infiltrate? By nightfall, Connie kept walking anxiously. He feared that Titans could appear at any moment. When he passed near a forest, Connie was startled to see a shadowy figure ahead. But upon closer look, he realized it was only Armin along with another Survey Corps group. That unexpected encounter left everyone astonished, because the wall was still intact. This made everyone question, where had the Titans entered from? Afterward, they discovered an old castle, so the group decided to spend the night there. Meanwhile, Hange was still conducting research on a piece of hardened Titan skin that the team had collected. She proposed the theory, perhaps the walls themselves were actually created from this very hardening ability. Armin then speculated, if Eren could use the hardening power, the mission to retake Wall Maria could absolutely become reality. Hearing this, Eren felt unsettled, because he still did not fully understand his Titan abilities. Hange looked straight at Eren, and she demanded that he must try. In the south, as the migrant convoy passed by, Pastor Nick was forced by the Survey Corps. They made him witness the sight of people abandoning their homeland. When they returned, Hange questioned him once more, but he still refused to reveal the secret. He only mentioned the name of a girl who had joined the scouts this year. Nick said, they need to keep an eye on that girl. Right at that moment, Sasha rushed in to report an urgent situation. Amid the chaos, Hange also discovered, Ymir and Krista are people worth paying close attention to. At the old castle, the young Survey Corps soldiers began to rest. Reiner and Ymir seemed serious, while the new recruits chatted casually. They even found a bottle of wine with a strange language on it. But they were forbidden from drinking. Grease made mocking remarks, which angered Connie. In the middle of the night, Titans suddenly appeared and surrounded the castle, forcing everyone to jump to their feet. The 4 armed soldiers immediately stayed outside to hold the Titans back. While the new recruits were ordered to take shelter inside, they were tasked with protecting the castle. But the number of Titans was overwhelming, and some had already climbed the walls and broken in. At that moment, Reiner rushed ahead to draw the Titan's attention. But as soon as he opened the door, suddenly a Titan appeared there. It grinned with a sinister, mocking expression. Reflexively, Reiner quickly slammed the door shut. But it was useless against the Titan. It smashed the door open. And just as it was about to attack Reiner, his memories suddenly resurfaced. It turned out that he had also been attacked by Titans in the past. But thanks to the sacrifice of his comrades, he had been saved from danger. Back to the present, Berthold realized the situation was critical. He immediately used his weapon to attack it. Thus Berthold and Reiner risked their lives to block the Titan and protect everyone. Meanwhile, Connie and Ymir did their best to assist. They even tried using the castle's old cannon to stop the Titan. But since none of the three knew how to use it, they accidentally dropped the cannon, causing the Titan to be defeated. But just when everyone thought it was over, Connie realized that the Titan wasn't dead. He quickly used his knife to finish it off. Suddenly, another Titan appeared. It immediately attacked Connie. Reiner swiftly rushed in to save him. In the midst of the chaos, Reiner nearly had his arm bitten off by the Titan, but thanks to Ymir's reckless courage, he was saved. Ymir then bandaged Reiner's wound. While disinfecting his injury, Ymir used the leftover bottle of liquor. Since she didn't have any bandages, Krista had to tear her skirt to wrap his wound. That gentle act made Reiner's heart tremble for a moment. Ymir saw this, which made her look jealous. She pretended to complain. "I cut my hand." But Connie immediately exposed her lie. Still, the whole group deeply appreciated Krista's kindness. At this moment, Connie expressed his gratitude to everyone, because he was always the one being helped. But before they could rest, a new wave of Titans appeared. They surrounded the old castle. And so, a deadly battle was about to begin. After that, they had a short conversation about Reiner. The atmosphere among the group became strange, until Ymir suddenly interrupted, and suggested they should go find more weapons to fight. When they looked out the window, everyone was stunned by the power of the Survey Corps. At that moment, 4 soldiers armed with weapons were preparing to return to the rookies. Suddenly, loud noises echoed. Their horses had all been killed. Meanwhile, giant boulders came crashing down, killing 2 soldiers instantly, and it was the Beast Titan who had thrown them. After accomplishing its goal, that colossus-like Titan climbed down the other side of the wall. Meanwhile, at the castle, a swarm of Titans of all sizes relentlessly attacked. The 2 remaining soldiers had no gas left to use their maneuvering gear. Now, only Gelgar held a sharp sword in his hand, but he was far too badly wounded. Gelgar lost his strength and fell straight into a Titan's mouth. Nanaba risked her life to rush in and save him. She managed to catch him just in time. But when Nanaba turned her head to the left, right before her eyes was the face of another horde of Titans. They were quickly driven back into the tower. Gelgar's eyes lit up when he spotted a liquor bottle placed in front of him. But when he lifted it to drink, not a single drop came out. He burst into tears like a child, while Gelgar didn't even care that Titans had surrounded them. Now, the rookies above could do nothing but watch helplessly, and they were horrified as they saw their comrades torn apart. At this moment, Krista still tried to encourage everyone to fight to the end. Even though she knew there was no hope, she still gave it her all. Suddenly, Ymir remembered Krista's words from before. She had said, "A glorious death is better than a meaningless one." In that moment of despair, Ymir asked to borrow a dagger. She declared that she would use it to fight. Ymir said, "Remember the promise we made back on the snowy mountain?" Then Ymir grabbed the dagger. She quickly leapt down from the tower. She slashed the palm of her hand. Suddenly, a golden lightning bolt flashed, and she began to transform into a Titan. Ymir charged straight into the enemies. Let's recall the past for a moment. Everyone, back then, in the middle of that snowstorm, the rookies were undergoing training, but they got separated from Krista and Ymir. On Krista and Ymir's side, Krista was struggling to drag Daz forward step by step. But Ymir advised Krista to leave Daz behind. But Krista firmly refused. Ymir understood. Krista never begged anyone to save her. Meanwhile, she only wanted to use Daz as an excuse to endure the cold so she could die there. That surprised Krista. At that moment, Ymir mentioned Krista's true identity. She had accidentally learned the truth while at the church. They said, "That girl will be allowed to live if she can change her name and join the military." And Ymir's enlistment was the same way. When the truth was revealed, Ymir scolded Krista. She said that Krista was only living under a false name. Krista had to try to please those who hated her. Ymir insisted. Krista must live under her real name and face her true self. That conversation ended. The two of them continued to look for a way back to the base. And now, When Ymir transformed into a titan to protect her comrades, she turned into the Jaw Titan to fight against the other titans. Ymir kept biting and tearing around the tower. Everyone was shocked that Ymir was actually a shifter. Meanwhile, Reiner and Bertholdt quickly realized she was the titan that had devoured their comrade. Suddenly, the castle began to shake, causing Krista to fall from the castle. But Reiner caught her, while Reiner's face was filled with anger. By accident, he gripped Krista too tightly, causing her pain. That made him suddenly regain his composure. Now they were debating whether Ymir was a friend or an enemy. On Ymir's side, because the titans were too many, she could no longer resist for long. At that moment, Krista finally understood the deeper meaning behind the promise from long ago. She encouraged Ymir. Ymir rampaged through the titans. She even used the entire tower as a weapon. But when the tower collapsed, Ymir used her titan body to save them. Suddenly, the titans went mad and attacked Ymir. But their overwhelming numbers made it impossible for Ymir to hold out. She was continuously bitten and torn apart by them. Seeing this, Krista quickly rushed in to help, but she ended up becoming their target. At that very moment, the Survey Corps appeared in time. They wiped out all the titans and rescued the group. Even though Ymir was severely injured, she still survived thanks to her titan power. In that moment, Krista held Ymir's hand, and she whispered her real name, Historia Reese. Hearing that, Ymir gave a satisfied smile. After returning to the wall, Krista persuaded Henge that Ymir is an ally of humanity. Although there were still many doubts, the Survey Corps agreed to bring Ymir back for treatment. They continued to investigate the supposed breaches in the wall, but the results showed there were no breaches at all. At this moment, Reiner didn't seem to be doing well. Seeing this, Oren asked if he was okay. Reiner replied, "How could I not be worried when I almost died twice?" Bertholdt, looking very serious, realized the situation was getting tense. So, Bertholdt spoke up to encourage Reiner. By now, everyone could probably figure out who the spies were, right? Just as the troops were preparing to withdraw, Reiner suddenly called out to Oren. And then, Reiner and Bertholdt began to reveal a terrifying truth. 5 years ago, they were the ones who attacked the wall. Reiner declared, "We are the Armored Titan and the Colossus Titan." The two of them bluntly told Oren that, if he agreed to go with them, they would stop destroying and stop killing more members of humanity. Mikasa happened to overhear this strange conversation, so she started paying close attention to the three of them. Meanwhile, Oren still couldn't fully grasp the situation, because his mind was overloaded. Oren couldn't believe what he just heard. 12 hours earlier, Henge had been gathering information about Annie, and she realized that there were two others who came from the same district as her, Reiner and Bertholdt. Meanwhile, their records were missing many details, which filled her with suspicion about them. More notably, during the previous expedition, Reiner and Bertholdt had been given false information that Oren was on the right wing. Soon after, the female Titan attacked that exact right wing. At first, no one thought Reiner and Bertholdt were Annie's accomplices. But Armin suddenly recalled, since Oren's position had been clearly known by Reiner, and the female Titan only changed direction after capturing Reiner. From these details, Armin began to suspect both of them. Returning to the present, Oren didn't want to believe Reiner's words. He thought that Reiner was just stressed and talking nonsense. But Bertholdt, standing right beside him, remained silent, with a blank expression on his face. Meanwhile, a few members of the Survey Corps also started paying attention to this tense conversation. At that exact moment, the wound on Reiner's arm began to heal in a shocking way. Mikasa noticed the abnormality, so she immediately rushed in to attack the two of them. However, she couldn't finish them off. Just as a flash of yellow lightning appeared, Reiner and Bertholdt transformed into titans right on the wall. The scene happened too quickly. Bertholdt, in the form of the Colossus Titan, suddenly grabbed Oren and leapt down. Oren was stunned as he realized the truth. At that moment, memories of Reiner and Bertholdt flooded back to him. He turned that shock into hatred. Oren bit down hard on his hand to transform into a titan, and then he threw a punch at Reiner. A fierce battle broke out. The attacked titan and the armored titan clashed, both of them crashing to the ground, creating a massive shockwave. On top of the wall, Mikasa looked at the Colossus Titan with fury and regret, because earlier she hadn't managed to cut off the heads of the two traitors. At that moment on the wall, the Colossus Titan began attacking the Survey Corps. It devoured Ymir's comrades and another soldier. Enraged, Hange ordered everyone to attack together. The entire squad soared into the air to fight the Colossus Titan. The Colossus Titan resisted fiercely, swinging a mighty punch toward them. However, its enormous body made the Colossus Titan move sluggishly, and everyone could dodge it with ease. But just as they prepared to attack, a massive burst of heat erupted from the Colossus Titan. Because the heat was too intense, everyone was forced to retreat, and they couldn't get close to it. They had no choice but to spread out and keep watch over it. They waited until it turned back into human form. Meanwhile, Eren took a heavy punch from the armored Titan, which left the attacked Titan unable to stand. Reiner then began to approach step by step. Mikasa quickly rushed in as well. She used her blades to attack, but she still couldn't inflict any damage on the armored Titan. He didn't even bother with her. The armored Titan struck Eren, and the two exchanged blow after blow. Yet all of it was in vain. Eren still couldn't harm Reiner. By now, Mikasa also realized that neither of them could pierce the armored Titan. They couldn't break through that solid armor. At that moment, Eren remembered his childhood. He recalled when the Colossus Titan had attacked his hometown, fueling his hatred even more. Eren suddenly launched a counterattack against the armored Titan. But even though he had the will, Eren used a left hook to strike the armored Titan. Yet it was all in vain. The armored Titan counterattacked. He landed a knockout blow on Eren, sending him flying into the air. Then, the protagonist's aura appeared. Memories of Annie during their training sessions resurfaced. Eren recalled the grappling techniques Annie once taught him to bring down an opponent. At that moment, the Colossus Titan began stepping toward Eren. Meanwhile, everyone on the wall was watching. They saw Eren resisting recklessly. He charged at the armored Titan. They thought Eren had lost his mind, but instead, he surprised them. The armored Titan and the attacked Titan threw punches at each other. But as the armored Titan's fist closed in, Eren slipped to the side. From below, he used Annie's technique. Eren locked Reiner's movements tightly. In an instant, he slammed the armored Titan to the ground. He successfully overpowered Reiner. It seemed like everything was over. But then Reiner fought back. He pushed Eren off, and Eren quickly locked his counterattack again. His grip was so strong that the armored Titan's face began to crack. Then Eren used all his strength to break Reiner's arm. Armin rushed over and reminded him, "Eren, you must retreat toward the wall to get support." Mikasa also warned, "Reiner won't let us withdraw so easily." And as they rushed toward the wall, the armored Titan immediately charged after them. Step by step, he closed the distance. By this time, everyone had regrouped. Hannes rushed to the wall, and when he saw the Colossus Titan, his hands began to tremble. Meanwhile, Hange leapt onto Eren's shoulder. She told him, "You must buy more time. And you have to use that grappling move again to break through the armor on the armored Titan's legs. Finally, you need to use your head to figure this out." Since Mikasa's blades were broken, Armin handed her his own blades to use. Suddenly, the armored Titan sped up and charged forward. He slammed Eren hard into the wall. Eren counterattacked. He locked Reiner in a hold. Meanwhile, Reiner kept punching Eren relentlessly, and the speed of his blows only grew faster. This made everyone think Eren couldn't hold on. But then Hange said, "There must be parts of the armored Titan that aren't covered, and those will be his weak points." Then Reiner charged and slammed Eren once again. Eren noticed an opening. He tightly grabbed the armored Titan, preventing him from moving. Mikasa realized this was their chance. She rushed in using her blades and gear. Mikasa slashed at the armored Titan's knee joint, and the attack was successful. The armored Titan's resistance weakened. Eren then used all his strength to snap Reiner's neck. Meanwhile, everyone outside cheered for Eren. In his desperation, Reiner summoned all his strength to push Eren away. Then Reiner suddenly stopped moving. Everyone thought it was finally over. But it was all part of Reiner's plan. He pushed Eren down beneath the body of the Colossus Titan. Eren quickly realized Reiner's strategy. He tried to muster his strength to finish Reiner off. But it was already too late. The Colossus Titan let his massive body fall. exploding like a nuclear bomb, and blowing everyone away. The armored titan immediately seized the chance. He bit into Eren's neck, and they successfully captured him alive. Reiner quickly made his titan body sprint away to escape. Meanwhile, Bertholdt had returned to human form, and he carried the unconscious Ymir with him. Then they leapt onto the armored titan's shoulder and escaped. On top of the wall, Hannes and the other soldiers were horrified as they witnessed the scene. Meanwhile, at another section of the wall, Commander Pixis was still dozing off from drinking. A subordinate came to wake him and report the situation. The military police brigade said they had dealt with the titans that had infiltrated. The Survey Corps also hadn't found any new enemies. If the Vanguard squad's inspection went smoothly, they should be returning soon. Hearing the report, Pixis only nodded drowsily. He didn't seem surprised at all. Erwin soon arrived to report as well. He said, "Some members of the military police brigade are worried after seeing the Survey Corps fighting titans. Some of them regret that they weren't part of the battle themselves. Yet many others are afraid, making excuses to avoid going to the front lines." At that moment, the Vanguard squad on patrol returned. They reported that the wall still had no issues. But in reality, the situation was extremely dire. On their way back, they ran into Hange's squad along with the unarmed members of the 104th. By then, the entire squad had suffered heavy losses, because they had faced both the Colossus Titan and the Armored Titan. On Hange's side, some soldiers were severely injured, while only a few managed to escape unharmed. Armin recalled the past, when he, Eren, and Mikasa were still children. That day, he went to buy bread. Suddenly, the three of them were blocked by bullies. They tried to snatch away the loaf of bread. Since Armin was weak, he couldn't fight back. Eren grew angry. He immediately rushed in to fight them. But Eren wasn't strong enough to take on three large boys, so he was quickly overpowered. At that very moment, Mikasa appeared, with just a few swift moves. She defeated the bullies. Eren became upset again, because Mikasa always stole the spotlight. But Armin knew that without Mikasa, they would have been in serious trouble. That memory flashed through Mikasa's mind as she woke up. It turned out she had only been dreaming of the past. The moment she opened her eyes, Mikasa immediately grabbed Armin's shirt and asked about Eren. But when she looked down below the wall, she only saw the corpses of titans. Armin told Mikasa, "Eren and Ymir have been taken by Reiner and Bertholdt." The situation was extremely critical. At this moment, the other side of the wall was blocked by coal wagons, so they couldn't immediately pursue. Now, many captains and veteran soldiers were also seriously injured. At this time, if they wanted to give chase, they would need to gather an elite squad to have any hope. When Mikasa heard that, she could only tighten her scarf. While Mikasa's eyes were filled with determination, but within them also overflowed with despair, Mikasa and Armin sat talking about Eren. Armin said, "Eren is always rushing forward on his own. Mikasa only wants to stay by his side. But that has always been difficult." Hannes walked over. He handed each of them a ration. He encouraged the two of them and said, "All this time, they've always had to chase after Eren to clean up the mess he caused. However, Eren is resilient, no matter how hard it gets. He has never backed down. Right now, Eren is surely waiting for everyone, because they will come to clean up this mess." Hannes's words helped Mikasa and Armin regain their spirit. They tried to eat rations to recover their strength and waited for reinforcements to arrive. Commander Erwin led the Survey Corps. They advanced together with the military police. Armin suggested that Krista should stay behind, but she was still determined to go in order to save Ymir. Although he was seriously injured, Hannes still tried to tell everyone, Reiner and Bertholdt might take Eren to the small forest ahead. Even though those two are titans, they will still be in danger if they encounter other titans. Especially after the recent battle. They must have already been injured. And if the Survey Corps can reach the forest before sunset, they still have a chance to rescue Eren. After the troops moved out, Hange wanted to go to the village where the immobile titan was to investigate, because she had a feeling that something was unusual there. However, she was exhausted, so the blonde man decided to go in her place. On Rainer's side, at that moment, Eren and Ymir also began to regain consciousness. He discovered that his hand was gone. Eren immediately realized he had lost the battle earlier. Bertholdt said, "Earlier, in the rush, I accidentally bit off your hand as well. Oren became angry and tried to transform into a titan again. But Ymir quickly analyzed the situation. She said, "This forest is vast, while countless titans down below are staring up at us. Moreover, Reiner and Berthold still have their vertical maneuvering gear. Even if Oren transforms into a titan, their escape would still be nearly impossible." While Oren was still hesitating, Reiner said, "Right now, both he and Berthold cannot transform into titans, because their stamina has already been exhausted." And Reiner revealed, they will take Oren and Ymir back to their homeland. He knew the two of them would not obey. But if they fought here and now, both would only become prey for the titans. Therefore, Reiner advised Oren not to act recklessly but to wait until nightfall. Meanwhile, Ymir asked why Reiner didn't just run straight back to their homeland in his armored titan form. But he didn't bother to answer. Yet Oren also understood, there was no way for them to escape. If they tried to run now, he and Ymir would become an easy meal for the titans below. Oren angrily questioned Ymir. He couldn't understand why she could also transform into a titan. So which side was she really on? Oren suspected. Was Ymir an ally or a traitor? Reiner interrupted. He said, "If the whole group starts fighting right now, everyone will just die in vain." He advised Oren to hold back and wait until nightfall before making a move. Oren tried to stay calm, but deep inside, he was filled with doubt. Oren decided he would try to gather more information from Reiner and Berthold, and then he would look for a chance to escape. Meanwhile, the Survey Corps was still advancing at full speed. Mikasa, being too impatient, kept accelerating, which caused the formation to become disorganized. Armin and Hannes had to constantly remind her to stay calm. Elsewhere, Reiner began to reveal the conflict within his own mind, while his words became incoherent. At times he claimed himself to be a warrior, and at other times he saw himself as a soldier of humanity. Even Berthold felt uneasy about this confusion. Ymir noticed Reiner's mental disorder, and she launched psychological attacks on him, making him question his own purpose. Meanwhile, Oren was furious. He shouted at them, "You brought the titans inside the walls 5 years ago. And my mother was eaten by a titan. Everything you did only turned you into cold-blooded murderers. But they do not deserve the title of soldier or warrior." And he wanted them to die, because they needed to pay the price for what they had done. Ymir noticed that the atmosphere was growing more tense. So she suddenly asked, "Who brought the beast titan to the wall?" She suspected that if they captured it, they might be able to find a way home. But Reiner gave no clear explanation. Oren stood there, looking as if he didn't understand what was happening. He kept questioning Ymir, but she refused to answer him. She said, "Nothing will end if the two of them die here." At that moment, Reiner spoke up. He invited Ymir to join them. Reiner said, "Reiner knows you want to protect Krista, and if you cooperate, it will be much easier." Ymir seemed shaken, while Oren grew angry, because he couldn't get any more information. On the Survey Corps side, as Erwin's rescue team closed in, Erwin's scouts discovered an immobile titan in the village. Suddenly, the titan saw the picture of Connie's family. It unexpectedly gathered its strength and stood up. The soldier immediately fought back, but one of his comrades stopped him. He realized that the titan reacted to the photograph. That left him astonished. In the forest, Reiner and Berthold discussed their plan. They believed Ymir was more important than Oren, because she possessed a special ability, and she was the key for them to complete their mission. However, Krista was also an important figure, because she knew the secret of the walls. Meanwhile, taking Oren back might not guarantee the mission's success. So Reiner decided they would bring back both Oren and Annie, because he realized Berthold's feelings for her. Oren saw an opportunity. He pretended to obey, then suddenly launched an attack on Reiner. He threw powerful punches, but they were all useless. Reiner easily locked his neck, causing Oren to gradually fall into unconsciousness. As Oren's awareness faded, he overheard Ymir and Berthold talking. They said that when they were transformed into titans, both of them completely lost control and couldn't remember who they had eaten. Hearing this made Oren even more furious, because he believed that was just an excuse to cover up their crimes. Suddenly, a signal flare echoed from afar. It signaled that the Survey Corps had closed in. Erwin ordered the entire army to accelerate. He ignored the Titans chasing right behind them. Reiner hurried to prepare a countermeasure. He and Bertholdt used their mobility gear to lure the Titans toward them. He wanted to block the path of the Survey Corps. However, they knew very well, if they kept fighting here, sooner or later, they would be surrounded, and they couldn't transform in this place. Yet the smoke signals drew closer and closer. They indicated that the Survey Corps was almost there. Ymir suddenly thought, Krista will definitely be there. Because she is so kind-hearted. So she will be present. And Ymir wanted to go back and take Krista with her. But Reiner stopped her, because the situation did not allow it. She remembered her childhood. Ymir had once been chosen by a man to be the successor of the king. And she possessed everything of a monarch. But one day, soldiers stormed in, they arrested everyone, and that man shifted the blame onto Ymir. She admitted to everything in order to save their lives. But things did not go as she wished. They were taken to the walls, and they were thrown down below to be turned into Titans. While she herself was transformed into a Titan, she wandered everywhere. Ymir believed everything was her fault. So she buried herself alive. Until one day, Ymir accidentally devoured a human who possessed the Jaw Titan. And that person was also Reiner's friend. After that, she became a shifter, and she promised herself never to deceive herself again. Then she became a thief. And Ymir did everything she could just to survive each day. One day, she discovered Krista's secret, and she enlisted in the military. Ymir wanted to learn more about that girl. But the closer she got to her, Ymir realized, in this world, there are also people like her. And her will to live grew stronger. Returning to the present, Ymir suddenly launched a counterattack. She grabbed Bertholdt. Ymir made a proposal. They must return with Krista, or she would take Eren back herself. She had confidence in her ability to survive in the forest. At that moment, a blinding bolt of lightning struck within the forest. A Titan suddenly appeared. It made the Survey Corps realize that someone had transformed into a Titan. They immediately split into teams. They charged straight into the forest to rescue Eren. Armin, Mikasa, and Krista rushed closer, and suddenly saw Ymir in her Titan form. She ignored Connie's questions. Ymir just stayed silent. At that moment, Armin sensed something was wrong. Krista saw Ymir, and that made her very happy. Krista quickly rushed toward her. But Ymir immediately leapt down. Ymir used her jaws to grab Krista and ran away. So everyone quickly chased after her. But her speed was too fast. They couldn't catch up. At that moment, Armin figured it out. Ymir had betrayed them to join forces with Reiner. And as Ymir ran toward them, Reiner instantly transformed into the armored Titan, while Bertholdt transformed into the Colossus Titan. Mikasa was stunned by the sight. While Armin understood, Ymir had truly chosen to side with Reiner and Bertholdt. And so the chase began. Mikasa and her comrades rode on horseback. They were determined to give chase at all costs to rescue Eren. Erwin ordered the entire army to ignore the Titans behind them, and they had to focus all their strength on charging into the forest. Amid the sound of howling wind and pounding hooves, Mikasa silently swore, "No matter who the traitor is, even Ymir, she will not be forgiven." At that moment, Ymir released Krista. She said, "I'm sorry, but I can't leave you behind, because I want you by my side." But Krista opposed her. She said, "These people only want to devour Titans. They just want to steal your power. They will never let us live." Krista could not understand Ymir's actions. She thought, Reiner and Bertholdt must have threatened her. That thought shook Ymir, but Bertholdt persuaded her. Now they were already surrounded by the Survey Corps. Krista could never return anymore, and she would be buried within the four walls. Hearing this, Ymir gradually calmed down, but she lied to Krista, saying, "If you don't come with me, Reiner and Bertholdt will kill you." Ymir even insisted, "Krista is the only talisman that keeps me alive." Trusting Ymir, Krista agreed to follow her without any doubt. At that moment, both Eren and Ymir realized the rescue force was very close. Mikasa charged forward first. She slashed and blinded a Titan's eye while trying to reach Eren. Reiner immediately raised his arm to shield Eren and Bertholdt. Suddenly, Ymir attacked Mikasa, so Mikasa shifted her focus onto Ymir. At that moment, Krista raised her voice to stop her. Krista said, "Please don't kill my friend." Mikasa doesn't have much time. She forced Krista to choose, either return to humanity, or stay with Ymir. Otherwise, Even Mikasa would not spare Ymir. With no other choice, Ymir had to stay still. She urged Krista to go back with the Survey Corps, because she knew she couldn't win against Mikasa. Meanwhile, Bertholdt was extremely shaken, because Eren was trying to escape, while Reiner was still tormented by his inner conflict. Suddenly, from the outside, Jean shouted. He urged Eren to join him in beating Reiner up. Connie still couldn't believe the truth, because the memories and camaraderie between them felt too cruel to accept. Mikasa couldn't hold back. She was determined to kill Reiner and Bertholdt to save Eren. At that moment, Bertholdt spoke up. He said, "Reiner and I never wanted to kill people or deceive our friends. The time we spent fighting alongside everyone, that was truly the happiest time of our lives. Even though we don't dare ask for forgiveness, I beg you all, please try to understand us." At the same time, Hannes appeared. He reported, "A horde of Titans is approaching." He advised the group to quickly leave the forest, because they were leading a swarm of Titans toward them. The Titans soon rushed in, and the scene became as chaotic as hell itself. Although the armored Titan managed to push away a bunch of Titans, their overwhelming numbers caused the armored Titan to be torn apart. Erwin shouted, "This is only the beginning. Humanity will never have a future if we don't take Eren back." In the midst of the chaos, Reiner was forced to drop Eren and Ymir. He wanted to use all his strength to fight off the Titans clinging to him. Suddenly, Commander Erwin had his arm bitten off by a Titan, but he still shouted the order for the entire army to charge forward. Now, many soldiers were falling. Mikasa pushed past everyone. She rushed straight toward Bertholdt. Mikasa almost struck him down, but she slipped and was grabbed by another Titan. Suddenly, Jean rushed in just in time. He slashed the Titan's eyes and rescued Mikasa. Suddenly, two people used their maneuvering gear to close in on Bertholdt, but the armored Titan blocked them. At this moment, Bertholdt decided to take Eren away. Suddenly, Armin appeared. He questioned Bertholdt about Annie. They mentioned that she was being tortured in the dungeon. He used psychological tactics against him, which nearly made Bertholdt lose control. At that moment, even with only one arm left, Erwin, he still led the charge, and launched an attack on Bertholdt to rescue Eren. Mikasa quickly saved him, and they had to retreat immediately. Krista saw Ymir being attacked by another Titan. She quickly rushed to her aid. Amid the chaos, Krista was pulled onto a horse by Connie. While running, Ymir explained that she had no choice but to follow Reiner. But Sasha only thought she was lying. Krista was in pain, yet she still didn't fully trust Ymir. At the same time, Reiner, in his armored Titan form, he began throwing Titans at the scouts to block their path. Mikasa and Eren were thrown off their horses. But when they stood back up, Eren panicked as he realized the Titan before him was the one that had eaten his mother. At this moment, Erwin was also being chased by another Titan. Ymir suddenly thought that all the failures of the plan were because of him. Everyone wondered what she would do. But instead, Ymir rushed in and shoved the Titan away. Suddenly, Ymir dashed forward to save him. At that moment, Connie's group also arrived, but Erwin didn't care about his own wounds. He shouted loudly, "Focus on saving Eren." Eren screamed in despair, but he was powerless before the Titan that had eaten his mother. Mikasa was badly injured. She almost had no strength left. Just as the Titan was about to finish both of them, Hannes appeared. He slashed through the Titan's fingers with his blades. Hannes swore to avenge Carla, Eren's mother. Meanwhile, Armin and Jean quickly rushed in to save them. Suddenly, a Titan that Reiner had thrown arrived. They blocked their way. They showed their displeasure toward them. Meanwhile, Ymir seemed shaken. She didn't know whether to help Reiner's group, or return to the Survey Corps. But she realized this was her chance to save Krista, and she urged Krista to come with her. So Krista leapt onto Ymir's head. She wanted to know why Ymir was doing this. Thanks to Krista's encouragement, Ymir decided to fight alongside them, on Eren's side. Meanwhile, Mikasa could only watch Eren in despair. She couldn't do anything, because at this moment, Mikasa was injured, so she untied Eren, and Eren wanted to be the one to finish off that Titan. Even though he kept biting his hand, he kept failing again and again, while Hannes fought bravely. In the end, he was caught by the Titan, and it swallowed Hannes right before Eren's eyes. The scene made Eren scream in anguish. He blamed himself for being useless. Mikasa tried to calm him down. She comforted Eren in his moment of deepest despair. And Mikasa encouraged Eren. She didn't want him to be like that. Suddenly, the Titan attacked them. Eren snapped out of it. He used his hands to stop the Titan. Eren bit his hand to transform but failed. In his despair, he let out a fierce roar. Suddenly, the surrounding Titans, they immediately turned to attack the Titan that had eaten his mother. Then all the other Titans joined in as well. Everyone was stunned. They realized Eren had the ability to control Titans. And this was exactly why Reiner and Bertholdt wanted to capture him at all costs. Thanks to that moment, the Survey Corps managed to retreat successfully. Mikasa and Eren were pulled away by their comrades. Reiner grew furious when he saw that the most important power had fallen into Eren's hands. And he believed Eren was unworthy of it. They succeeded in killing the Titan that had eaten Eren's mother. Suddenly, Eren saw Reiner. Eren quickly ordered the Titans to attack the armored Titan. The horde of Titans rushed to strike Reiner. Back at the base, Krista admitted Ymir went willingly with Reiner and Bertholdt. She believed Ymir did that to protect her. Meanwhile, because of the Titans' invasion, half of the population inside Wall Rose was forced to relocate to the underground city in Wall Sina. But the food supply wasn't enough to last long. Commander Erwin, even though he had lost one arm, Erwin still declared that their next goal was to retake Wall Maria. And he vowed to make Reiner pay for his crimes. Armin proposed a theory. All the Titans we've encountered were once transformed humans. Levi pondered. So all this time, have we been killing Titans? Or killing people? In the distance, on top of the wall, the Beast Titan and a mysterious bearded man were silently observing. And thus, Season 2 came to an end. See you all again in Season 3. Thank you everyone for accompanying Oni. That's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to support Oni-chan in making even more exciting videos. Thank you all for watching until the very end.